Hello, welcome to Ask Sue London. This is the show that helps people and pets cope, heal, and move forward. I am your host, Sue London. I am so excited to have you here today. But before we start the show, I just need to share something very important with you. If you are a pet owner, I really want you to listen to these words I'm going to share with you. I have had an experience over the holidays helping a lot of people with their dogs and their cats that became very sick. And I spent a lot of hours doing a lot of healings around the clock. What made them sick was air freshener plugins. So if you have these in your home, I want to encourage you to pull them out of your space. Use things that are more natural. So if you are using essential oils, I know myself personally, I had experiences with frankincense years ago, and I had used it just months ago, one squirt in our bathroom and shut the bathroom door. And our new puppy Buddy, we had him out, not even in that area, and he couldn't breathe. And we went through that years ago with our dog Gus. But I didn't think, being in a whole other area, it would affect him. I had to literally get my pets outside and kind of bring them back and do healing. So it's not a thing to fool with these air fresheners or these air plugins or essential oils. So be very careful for your pets, whether they're dogs or cats. And keep in mind, they're down low where you plug these plugins in all your sockets. Okay. So I just want to leave that with you today to start off the show. Because I don't want to see you have something happen to your pet. And if you don't know, that's when these things can happen. So on that note, let's start the show. I am amazed with who's coming on our show today. Last week, I had Tiago de Sousa on, and we talked about this amazing lady that brought us together. Well, she's here with us today. Now, one of the things I want to share before I bring her on is that I want to invite you to go to my website, asksuelondon.ca, because my online course is now available. So that course that I've created is a 7-day transformative journey that you and I are going to take together. And I will each day bring a video up that you'll see and you'll follow. And then you'll have some changes happen. But I don't want to spend time now giving you all the details. So go to my website, asksuelondon.ca. You will see that says on the homepage, the course is Simplify and Thrive. So check that out because you requested it and I made that for you. So I'm now in the process of making many more. But for that one, check that out right away. Now, our guest today, amazing. I love her. I love her. She's a dear friend. We kick each other's butt in a loving way. We motivate each other. We inspire each other. And whatever each other needs, we're always there for each other. So many of you have shared with me that you heard my interview on her show. Her name is Louanne Hunt. And let me tell you first, before I go into bringing her on, because there's so much amazing stuff about this girl. I'm going to read you her bio so I don't miss anything. Now, Louanne is a Canadian keynote speaker whose down-to-earth humor compels audiences to laugh while they learn. Now, after 36 years, she retired from her government job and started a second career in teaching the fundamentals of business to thousands and business skills. Now, she has made a name for herself as a sought-after teacher, speaker, and a personal development coach. Now, additionally, this girl's not busy enough. Louanne is an award-winning entrepreneur and a certified Canfield trainer in the Success Principles. Now, she hosts a show called The Mindset Playground. And a lot of you have wrote to me and said you've heard my interviews on her show. Well, today I want to, we're going to have her come on and we're going to talk about the experience where angels joined us on her, I think it was the second interview that we did. Was it Louanne, the second one that we did?
The first one.
What's the first one? And so her show can be heard on YouTube as well as different podcast stations. Now, we're going to put in the description line below where you can hear her show, where you can hear the 2 interviews that we did. But many of you have shared that it was just amazing for you to hear what happened between a snake and angels appearing in the corner of the screen. Now, before I bring her on, I can't get you on here fast enough, girl. I want to encourage you to go to her website because I'm going to share after things how she can help you. So her website is LouAnneHunt.ca, but the Louanne has an E after in the 2 ends. So that is spelled LouAnne Hunt, HUNT.ca, LouAnneHunt.ca. So, without any further delay, my dear friend, I love you. It is such a pleasure and honor to bring you on my show. So, let's start talking about miracles and magic. You and I always create miracles and magic together, but let's focus on that. What happened that day when I come on your show? Tell everybody what you experienced, and then I'll tell everybody what happened for me.
Well, Sue, first of all, I want to say thank you so, so much for inviting me to your show. I'm honored. I'm totally honored to be here, and welcome everyone to the Mindset Playground. That's the name of my show. And I'm your host, Louanne Hunt. So that's the reason why we decided to get together with this. One of the things that I wanted to do as soon as I started this podcast and this show is I reached out to Sue London because she is so cool. And she does these amazing things. And we actually wrote stories together in a collaborative book. And
Yes.
this book was so amazing. And so that's how I first heard about Sue London. And the fact that she's a hop, skip, and a jump away from me, really, I mean, she's in a beautiful part of Ontario. And, I guess my area is just as nice, but not as beautiful as Sue's area, but it's not far apart.
Yes.
So as soon as I read her story in our collaborative book, I wanted to interview her because she has such an amazing story. So here's the deal. I'm very intuitive as well, and I've been told this. And I've had angels all around me for a long time. That's how I kind of got into all of this. And I really believe in angels helping us out. And I have books, Angel Numbers. I'm a huge fan of Doreen Virtue, and she's all about angels. So when we were doing our show here, and I was talking to Sue, it was really strange because I saw this mark in the upper right hand corner of the screen. And I was watching it, and it's kind of like an orb. And I don't know if you've ever heard of orbs, but orbs are very cool. And they're kind of unexplained lights that appear. So this orb kept appearing. And Sue would talk, and every time that she spoke about her dogs or the dogs that are helping her out with her broadcast, this orb would appear. So I said to her, well, this is really interesting. There's this little light that's showing up in the corner. And she pointed to it and she said, oh, this light here? And I said, yeah. And it would go away, and then it would come back, and then it would go away. And it was kind of like they were dancing with us. They were like playing with us. You're showing up, and then they
They
were
were
going
playing
away.
us big time, weren't they? Yeah, for sure.
They were.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. So the nice thing about all this is while Sue was talking, I told the people in the audience, I said, who was watching the show, I said, okay, so watch the right hand corner of the screen and watch, and you'll see a light appear. Well, that's an orb. That is a spirit, an angel. Well, we've had so many people contact us and tell us that they watched the show and they saw the angel. So that was kind of cool that we were able to do something like that. And it's been really great for us, hasn't it, Sue?
It's been amazing. And you know, the interesting thing is I have that happen an awful lot with clients, especially if I'm giving them messages from their pet that's gone, that's over on the other side, or their loved one, but never have the angels let me record them. So
Ah,
that was the interesting part, that they decided to take our interview on your show to say, hey, it's time. I want to be seen. So that was really the cool part. But what was happening for me that day, I thought, oh no, there's something going to happen, because when I do an interview before I work with a client, the temperature gets really, really cold. And I was just absolutely freezing that day. I thought, like, I almost wanted to put a blanket on me. So I had the temperature changing cold. I also had my phone. My cell phone was beside me, constantly rebooting. And then what was the other thing that I had happen? My dogs were going crazy. They were just looking around like this. So these are three signs. Just, if you're watching this, these are signs that, you can know you've got others around you. So it was just insane what was happening. And then when they appeared, I thought, okay, there's someone that we have to reach. And one of the guests coming on a future episode here is Cindy. Now, Cindy was somebody who heard our interview and reached out to you after the interview. Is that what happened there?
yes. So what happened was, after we did this interview and it actually
Yeah,
aired on
yeah,
YouTube, a friend of mine who always follows my show
yeah,
knew Cindy. So she was Cindy's friend, and she knew the
yeah.
story about Cindy and Cindy's dog, crossing over the Rainbow Bridge.
Jax. Yeah,
Yes. And so she contacted her right away, and she said, "You got to see this show that my friend is doing, the Mindset Playground. You got to watch this show." So she
yeah,
watched it, and she said she couldn't even get through it all because it just touched her so deeply. And
yeah.
yeah, she sent me an email, and it was such a wonderful email about, how she really loved the show. And then she explained the situation, and she said, "Is there any way at all that I can contact Sue London?" And yeah, it
Perfect.
wasn't long after, it was like right away. And it was funny because you connected with her immediately. So
Yeah.
she was blown away with how quickly the three of us were able to get together and take care of her situation, which is, trying to deal with that whole passing of her
Loss.
favorite pet. Yeah, the loss.
And,
But
and you know what
what's
was
really
interesting?
cool, yeah,
Go
what's
go
really
ahead.
cool
Yeah,
is how, you know, I said, "Hey, let's do another interview and we'll
yeah.
talk to Cindy directly if she's okay with
Mhm.
it, and you, Sue." So we were really lucky to have the three of them, or the three of us, I should
Three of
say,
us. Yeah, yeah.
the three of us on another show. And we talked about her whole situation. So you have taken it further than that, though, Sue. So what was the next
I have.
situation with her?
Well, so I would say, so what's been interesting is that, like, I've been getting message, but I just want to go back before when you said about, contacting Cindy so quickly. One of the things that happens to me, this is where the angels come in again, is that if there's somebody that I need to put my attention on right away, and so if it's important, my phone, my cell phone, will literally start vibrating and going around in circles, and it will do just wacky stuff. It's not a matter of just sitting there and making the noise like, oh, you got a text come in or an email. It like does a little dance kind of thing on my side table or wherever that is. It did it that morning, and I thought, okay, I was drawn to that. When I've had really good friends that have crossed, they come through my phone and do the same thing. So that happened that morning. So it was really important that, everything that, you booking me on your show, we did the interview, the angels appearing, it was all to help Cindy and so many other people that have lost a pet or that don't know that angels are with them. So that's what was so incredible for me, to know that, like, we're just a little piece of the puzzle for this big thing that had to happen, and there's many more that are going to happen. Now, I got to ask you this question. I think you and I have talked about what happens to me when I do my show. This is behind the scenes of LouAnne and Sue doing their shows. So what happens with me, Luann, is every day before I do a show, I get messages on exactly what I'm supposed to talk about. Do you have the same thing happen?
I'll have to say, it. I would say that it does happen, probably not as
Okay.
detailed as you. But the
Yeah.
one thing that I do notice, which is kind of cool,
Yeah.
is it'll
Yeah.
be somebody who I don't even know them. Like I'm just
Yeah.
it's just strange how it happens. And I never have a problem finding questions for them. I never
Mm,
I the show is never interrupted and it always takes a
mhm.
different path, and I've had so many people say, "Oh, that isn't even what I thought I was going to talk about when I was on the show." But it just
Right.
happens that we go
So
down
it's
this
channeling through
path.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Well,
does happen that way. And the other thing is that I'm always concerned, and I am. I
mm,
mean, it's
mm,
natural that
yeah.
I will run out of people to interview.
Oh, well, I'll
And
come on every week for you. You can come on mine if I run it, but I don't think that will ever happen for either one of us, to be quite honest, you know?
I know. And then
Mm,
out of the blue,
yeah.
somebody will show up and I'll be like, oh my goodness, I've never even thought of them. Or,
Yeah.
wow, this is cool. This is a new person. I've had so many people contact me and say, can I be on your show? And I just never, I'm always so
Yeah.
concerned that I'll run out of people, but I don't.
See, and I can remember like when I started doing my I don't know if I ever told you the story. When I started doing my radio show, I was on AM radio station. And how my career in radio started was I was a guest on Blog Talk Radio. Do you remember that station, blogtalkradio.com? If you ever want your own free radio station, radio show, that's where I started. But anyways, I wasn't going out to start to have a show. I was simply going on to be interviewed. And I'd been on, AM stations before in studios and all that at this point of that day. Well, the weirdest thing happened that day was that I went on this show. The host said hello, introduced me, and then my grandfather appeared beside me, Grandpa Bach, and he said, Susie, just trust me, just keep talking, just keep talking. I thought, I can do that. So the host, I'm talking, the host didn't ask me a question, didn't make comments, nothing. And Grandpa Buck is like, Susie, just keep talking, just trust me, just keep talking. And I did that. And then what happened at the end of the half hour, 25 minutes, host came back on. That was great, Sue. Thanks so much for being here, and ended up her show. And I hung up and I remember saying to my husband, Ross, he says, like, how was it? I said, that was like very unusual that the host didn't talk. It was like, Grandpa Buck appeared and all this stuff. And he's like, well, something's going to happen from this. Well, what ended up happening was before I started, my computer screen went funny, kind of like in the old days. Okay, Louanne and I are aging ourselves. We're both going, we know what we're talking about. You young ones will not understand, but one time years ago, TV had lines through it before we had cable. And that's what my computer screen did. And so I can remember that 2 weeks earlier, when I was working with Jack Canfield, that was the start of me working with him. And he said, put out what it is, what your intention is of what you want. And I said, my intention is to help millions of people and pets around the world cope, heal, and move forward. And so what happened, my angels heard that. They gave my show the name Get Inspired Radio with Sue London. And the host called me after that, the interview of the Blog Talk host, and said, congratulations, you've got your own show. And I said, I didn't sign up for a show. And she said, no, you're there. It's great. No, that's wonderful. When are you starting? Again, my grandpa Buck came through and he said, we will send them to you. And I thought, okay. And he never stopped. And he actually had me interviewing celebrities. That's where my show, as you know, right, Luann, and that's what happened. And then that just led into, doing bigger things. I heard I had to be on video platform for media, and that's where this happened today. But talk about, be careful what you wish for, right, Luann? So
Yeah, that's so true.
right,
I
yeah.
just had this
So
idea all of a sudden. Oh, I would love to go to Greece and I'd love to do it, through cruising. And, right away I put it out there and said, geez, I really want to go on a Greek cruise. What do you guys think? Does anybody want to go? And like, not even 2 minutes later, I got an
I know.
email from
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. 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 And
Yeah. So now here we
it
are.
was
We're going to
amazing.
Greece.
I know, right? So now we're in training, right? You started your training program, you're working out and getting ready for your clothes and that. But and like going back to media, one of the things that I'm doing with my shorts, you're doing amazing shorts, by the way. And everyone, you need to check out Louanne's shorts because they're really informative, inspiring, and so much more. And one of the things that my secret behind doing my shorts is that I literally, before I record, I will ask the other side to give me the messages that people need for that day. So even though I'm pre recording, I will say, okay, this is going to air this day. And then they will give me the messages that I have to say. So between my show and my shorts, that's how the angels are helping me. So pretty
Wow. That's
crazy, right?
amazing.
Right? Yeah. So, and I just got the message today that Marley wants to be in part of my videos, and I've had last week on the show. Uh, our friend Tiago had said, again, you really need to have the adventures of Buddy on my shorts. And we spent this morning recording shorts. And I'm probably going to be working the camera most of the time. And Ross, my husband, will be on these recordings with Buddy. So people will be able to see Buddy on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Marley and I on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's what that was my latest message I got this morning. So
Wow.
we will see where that goes, right?
For
Um,
sure.
so,
I always say
yeah,
that's the thing, Sue. You got to have dogs and babies and
well, for
dogs,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
Puppies and
right,
babies. Those are the
right.
big attention grabbers. And
Yeah.
every time I do, a video with my dogs or anything like that, people love them. They just love it. And yeah, dogs and
Well, I
babies.
know I think you did one short. I think I saw that you had the dog involved at Christmas time or something, right? The dog was sitting on the chair or something.
Yeah.
And right, that was really cute. Yeah, you should bring your pets on more. I mean, I know your babies, they're adorable. They'll be a show stealer for sure, right?
You know my babies because you did a reading for us.
I did. I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah. That was
amazing.
fun. Yeah.
So amazing.
Um, so and now like people, you've been hearing me talk about how Luann and I get messages with our shows and the angels are appearing, but also they will guide us to people. Now, my little friend here connected me to our guest last week, and that was crazy. So how did that all unfold that you connected me to Tiago? Because like I just feel like this is like a past life connection connected now in this lifetime. Like it's like he's my brother.
Well, and it's funny because I've known Tiago a little bit longer than you. In the first couple of meetings, I was supposed to have them with another person. There you go. But
Okay,
they ended up sending me Tiago. So he was sent to me. And it was
interesting.
the poor guy because I had just come off another venture that didn't really turn out the way that I wanted it to. So
Yeah,
this is our first conversation. This is our first conversation.
yeah.
Hi, Tiago. It's nice to meet you. And if you mess me around, I will hunt you down like a junkyard dog and beat the
Okay, I'll
crap out
have
of
to
you.
edit that part of my show, right? My spiritual friend.
No, leave it in because Diego will tell you she's
Yeah,
right. She did say that. And we still have a good laugh because you know what? And Diego will say it too. He'll say, like, I'm a straight shooter and he knows that. And
yes,
we get along so well. And if he comes up with an idea, I'll tell him, well,
yeah,
I don't know, Diego, I think you should do it this way. And he's the creative genius. And if he has an
yes,
idea, then he's the one who's helping me through a lot of this. But he's an amazing person.
yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think that you and I had just done a recording and you were saying how you were having, so many issues with things that were in your like website and things like that. And I was like, oh man, you have to talk to Diego because
Yeah.
he's just incredible. And so I hooked
Yeah.
the two of you up, and yeah. So, and I'm
Oh
trying to
yeah.
do that with a few other people because it's so worth it.
Yeah.
He's a good
Well,
egg.
but like look at how you just had this wrong strong feeling you needed to do that. And this is what I want to encourage you as a listener, that if you have a feeling you need to connect somebody, it's you have to follow through with that, because you just never know what will come out of that, who you're going to help, and so much more. So here, LouAnne gets this thought and she connects me. And I mean, if you go to my website, asksuelondon.ca, you'll see this amazing site that Tiego's created for me. And now, we're doing the online courses and that, and it's just exploding for us. And you'll have to let us know when your first course goes up too, my friend.
Yeah, I am
I just
working
got that
on
message.
that.
Get your course up. Yeah. So we're definitely going to bring you back for sure, because uh, one of the things I want everyone to know about is that LouAnne is doing um, classes, workshops on the vision board process and why you want to have it. And so, if you've worked with me, you may have heard me on other interviews say about having a vision board. It's really important. Do you want to tell people why it's important? Do you want to just tell that? Because we're going to bring you back and we're going to talk in more in depth, because we're almost out of time. But I want you to, tell them why.
Well, I have to tell you that first of all, that's the story that I have in my next book. Is about vision boards and what they've done for me. But I have to tell you, the thing is that we as humans, we process visuals 60,000 times a day. 60,000 times a day. And it's so important that those visuals are in front of you at all times, the ones on your vision board, so that you can see them. And it's a reminder of our goals. So there's a lot of scientific facts behind a vision board. And that's what I'm going to be bringing to my audience.
So you guys are going to be so delighted when this girl comes back. Now, you are also doing these workshops in person, but you're also doing them. Is it through Zoom? When you do them online, is that how you're doing them?
Well, I'm going to be doing some online courses just like you're doing. And
Okay.
it's going to, one of the courses that I'm going to offer is definitely the vision board.
Are you offering any online um, group calls on the vision board yet? Like, can
Not
people
yet.
book you for that? Not yet.
Not yet,
Okay.
but
Well,
we will be doing that.
that's coming, yeah, because so many people are still not going out, or for some reasons can't get out, and this is absolutely an amazing thing to learn how to do and make that part of your journey. I know for me, I'm very visual. And I have everything in front of me, like with affirmations, and I've got my vision board feng shui actually, with all the bagua. So we're going to have an amazing show. And after, we're finished our interview here today, folks, I will promise you and tell you that this girl will be getting booked on when we're going to do that interview, so that you're going to have that information. Because if you worked with me, I really want to encourage you to have that vision board, because it really will make a difference in your life. So any final words you want to share with everybody? We've done pretty good with not going overboard here.
Well, I just have to say that, choose or change your mind and you'll change your life. And the biggest statement that I make all the time is E plus R equals O. And what that means is the events plus your response equals your outcome. You can't change the events, but you can always change your response. So if you want a different outcome in life, then change your response. And then that way you can change your life. Because if you change your life, trust me, good things will happen and continue to happen, because I'm sure that they're already happening now. So just remember that you are always one decision away from a completely different life.
I love you, my friend.
I love you too.
Folks, and we got to add in your website address, which is louannehunt.ca. I'm going to spell that for you. LouAnne, LOUANNE. Don't forget that extra E. Hunt, HUNT.ca. You're
And find
wonderful.
me
I
on
love.
YouTube at
Oh
Louanne
yeah,
Hunt.
well, we're going to put all of this underneath the description area as well. And then because we want to have these interviews, because some of you who may not have heard the interview that Louanne and I did with the snake, that's where the angels appear. Maybe the angels were coming to maybe keep me protected from like where I was at mentally around that. But that's a whole, they'll hear it on the interview. Anyways, I love you, my friend, and all the very best for 2024. We've got a lot of amazing stuff coming for us, and I'm glad to have you on this journey with you. With have
Yeah.
you on this journey with me. So,
Thank you, Sue.
oh
Thank
God,
you.
got to stay this wacky energy, and all the others with us here on the other side are just wanting to get the words out before we end here. So, you listening, I want to say thank you for tuning in. I love you. I'm grateful for you. And I look forward to bringing you more hope and inspiration so that you too can cope, heal, and move forward along your journey. I'm Sue London, wishing you much love and many blessings. I'll see you next week.